Y'all just here for the your presentation. Oh, that's great. I can see that. Both y'all want to go again? Your reappointment tonight. Yeah, I figured you're on the fence. That's in your travel time.
The mics are live.
Awesome. Oh yeah. So we're back from the executive session now that everyone's back, and no decisions made, no votes taken. And I will say at this point in time, well, call the roll first.
Mr. Parker? Here. Mr. Farley? Here. Mr. Boone? Here. Dr. Hutton?
Here.
Ms. Ray?
Here.
Mr. Rich?
Here.
Mayor Goodwin?
Here.
And 4.
So when she gets back, Ms. Watkins gets back, and Mrs. Watkins gets back, we'll talk about why we're in executive session for a second. And here she comes. She is the reason we were in executive session, because she is going to leave us after 6 years and moving on up like the Jefferson's position with Seabrook Island. So congratulations, Catherine, with our loss and Seabrook Island's game.
Thank you.
We do have, one other thing we would talk about for a second too is, one, welcome to the revised City Hall, renovated, whatever you want to call it. I still get lost in here because behind these walls is a maze, like a rat looking for a piece of cheese, trying to figure out where you're going to go next. You'll notice as you come and go, my office is still by the elevator. Nothing changed there except the color. They did change the color on the wall. So in that office, they put some lipstick on a pig and left me right where I was. The state of emergency has expired for requirements for wearing masks and whatever else in the state of South Carolina per Governor McMaster's as of yesterday. So take care of yourself, however you feel like you need to take care of yourself and your family. But be careful, and the new normal is still being decided, I guess, among everyone. At this time, we have a presentation from the Municipal Association. Oh, I forgot, go ahead. Well, I skipped the invocation. I also, hurry to welcome everybody and explain about Mrs. Watkins. So we'll have the invocation now by Council Member Ray, and followed by the pledge of allegiance.
As we gather this evening in our beautifully renovated City Hall, I hope that we can look to this as a refresh to serve each other and our community with courage and daring leadership. Let us lift our heads, open our eyes and hearts. Our most serious duty is to look to the community we share and serve, the examples we make, and the legacies we leave. This should be our greatest, most courageous, and noble intention. Summer has arrived. As our beach population swells and the temperature rises, please keep our public safety, public works, city staff, and all hospitality workers in your hearts and thoughts. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
now. You're up.
Members of the council, it's great to be here with you in this beautiful space this evening. Again, Charlie Barano with the Municipal Association. I am here to present you with one of our honor roll plaques. 17 of our 271 municipalities, you are one of those 17, where each elected official has completed the Municipal Elected Officials Institute. So each of you has graduated from our training program that's trying to provide you leadership skills to bring back to your community. So I commend you on behalf of the Municipal Association. I didn't know if you wanted to get a photo with everybody or how you want to do it, or
We
just
can.
hand it to you.
Y'all want to step?
Right here.
Yeah, Charlie, why don't you step up here with us?
sir.
Yeah, y'all got to move in a little bit. So what do you say, Colleen? You all right? Yeah, Shorty. There you go.
Okay,
It's good down there, Bill. We good? We good?
1, 2, 3. Okay, I got one more for this firm. 1, 2, 3. Cheese.
Thank you very much. I will say, some of us had a lot of time to do this in terms of the past year and a half. Some of us did it 100 years ago. The old way, the fast
Do
route.
we get the dean's list when everybody does these races?
So we're up to the next point. The mayor's comments is long tonight. Ask Mr. Wells to step forward.
Hi, y'all.
So Mr. Wells is a distinguished member of the residents of Folly Beach. So everybody can see the front of you on the camera.
Okay, got it.
And it's a pleasure to have known and the city be able to work with Mr. Wells. He commandeered some help and tore down a walkover and removed it and all that kind of stuff for the beach as a project for the Eagle Scout. Eagle Scouts is not easily achieved. Those of us who have folks, your parents are proud of you, I'm sure. And what is this school you're getting ready to go to where you gotta live off the land or something for?
I am going to UNC Charlotte, and I got the Levine scholarship. So basically, they take us to Wyoming on July 11th, and we're going to hike throughout Wyoming for about 4 weeks. So that's going to be very exciting. So yeah.
Well, before you go,
Oh my gosh.
we'll give you a little thing that you can remember Folly Beach by later on as you get older.
Yes, sir.
But it
Thank
is
you.
a very good pleasure to do this.
That's so great.
It's almost as much of a pleasure as it was my grandson, but no. Congratulations and congratulations. Without the parents, you would have never got here.
That's true.
And without your scout leaders, you would have never got here. And a lot of other people, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, congratulations. And it was good to see the scholarship. I love to see that. That was wonderful.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good luck in Wyoming.
I will try. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm done. Has anybody got a motion to adjourn?
That's around.
So we don't have any staff reports tonight. Approval of the agenda. Motion to approve. The second.
Second.
Without objection. Okay. Approval of the previous minutes for May the 10th. A motion to approve.
Second.
Have any corrections or additions? All right.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yes. Approval of the minutes from meeting on May the 11th. I have a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion, corrections, or additions?
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yes.
Passes.
So we'll move on to personal appearances. Ms. Geary, you're up first.
Okay. Hi, I'm Patty Fury. I'm here representing Save the Light, a nonprofit that is dedicated to the preservation of the Morris Island Lighthouse. And I'm here to ask permission for our 5K half marathon, which we hope to hold next February 5th. It'll be our 20th race. Started in 2003, we missed 2 years, we missed 2007, and we missed last year. So this will be the 20th time We start in front of the Tides Hotel. The race course was set by Chief Gilreath a few years ago, and we stick to that. The race is actually run, the logistics, by the Charleston County Parks and Recreation. We used to do all the logistics, and about 5 years ago, they came and said, we'd love to help you, we'd love to take it over. We'll give you a per runner fee, and we said, got a deal, this is great. So they have taken it over, they do all the logistics, and we help them out, but we are the grateful beneficiaries. So that's why I'm here tonight, next February 5th. We'd love to have your permission to do it.
Do I have a motion for
Make a
approval?
motion, we approve Ms. Geary's request.
Do I have a second?
Thank you very much.
Any questions? Okay,
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
yes.
Passes.
One thing I didn't ask you to do, just for the record, give us your name and address.
Patty Geary, 216 West Hudson.
Thank you. And thank you.
Thank you.
So up next is Miss Suzanne Susanna? Susanna, oh, excuse me.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm Susanna, and Margaret Ann's with me, and we're from the American Lung Association, and we are requesting to have our Long Force 5K run walk held at Folly on October 30th. And we've been lucky to have our run here for the past 13 years, and we usually have done it as a road race starting by the pier, and this year we're hoping to do it on the beach, and we've got approval from Charleston County Parks to use the Dunes House as our home base, and then start right on the beach access there, going halfway down and just coming back to the Dunes House. So.
We're so grateful that you guys have let us
Yes.
do this for so long, and we did miss Wish Public last year. We're
Yeah.
really excited to be able to come back and provide something fresh and be able to socially distance on the beach.
Do I have a motion for approval?
I make a motion for approval for the Lung Force Run Walk 5K.
Second.
Any questions? Okay,
Thank you.
we can take a vote here, but
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
See.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
yes.
Passes.
Thank you, appreciate it. Mr. Lutz is up next.
Hello, everybody. I'm standing in for Ms. Lowe, mostly because my wife and I started with this organization back in 2006, and we've been doing the beach day since then. So this would be our 15th year, but for missing it last year would be a pandemic. We have not come before council before, shame on us, I have to admit, but I'm trying to do everything right this year. Ms. Christina's doing a really good job. She's now taken over as the event coordinator. So we're hoping to pull off another successful beach day in August this summer.
Motion approved.
Okay.
Second.
Motion. In a second, any questions? I will say that you don't even, other than kids being down there, you don't even know they're down there basically.
The event is truly on the private property.
Yeah.
We just walk to the beach, play in the water, and then come back up to the Baptist Beach House.
But,
It's really not on the beach per se. We have Charleston County lifeguards, do off-duty officers.
yeah, and minimal number of vehicles too. I mean, everything's parked on the lot, so it's not like they're taking street parking.
Some come by small bus and get dropped off. It's a really neat day. A lot of kids, it's their one and only time to get to come to the beach.
Do you need volunteers?
I think it's probably still okay if anybody wants to volunteer. We have a pretty big screening process you gotta go through. But it's early enough now if somebody wanted to volunteer, but Christina here, Colleen can share contact info. She'd probably love to have some more.
And before we take a vote, this has nothing to do with the beach day, but they actually have like a fair day I don't know what they call it, I forgot.
We call it Fall Carnival.
Carnival, yeah, and if you ever wanna see something that's really, really nice, it's just up near the old Navy base, it's worth the trip. And to see how they have things set up inside for these kids. I mean, it looks like a warehouse of clothes, all neatly dressed, clean, hanging on hangers by sizes, by male, female. I mean, it's amazing work they do up here.
They do take donations year round for their regular operation, any kind of clothing. Their primary mission is to give kids that get into the system initial care packages. They pull out of homes and stuff like that. They have nothing, sometimes they need a toothbrush, toothpaste, socks and underwear.
Okay.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Dr. Hutton,
Yes.
Ms. Gregg,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Pruitt,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yes.
passes.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Oliver?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is David Oliver. I live in Grantsburg, Illinois, but I own property here at the Beach Walk Villas, 108 East Ashley. Beach Walk Villas was built in 99-2000. It's 9 units, each of which are 3-bedroom. 22 years old is the structure, and we think that she looks pretty good for her age at this point. We got a great group of owners, 5 of which, pleased to say, are original owners from construction. I've been an owner for 13 years there. We've got a great location, 2 blocks of Center Street, 2 blocks to the beach and pier, less than 2 blocks to Birds. So we're in a great location. We currently have 6 parking spaces that are perpendicular to East Ashley. And if you have this photo, assuming that you have, this is looking, pardon me?
I was just saying, it's in the back of the package, last page of the package.
This photo is looking across East Ashley. You can see the 6 spaces there partially under the building. We have 12 additional spaces out back that are accessed from East Cookland. So the 12 plus the 6 give us 18, and that gives us 2 assigned parking spots for each of the 9 units. That's important because what we found is that over time, the majority of the owners as well as renters end up with 2 vehicles here, either coming from different locations for rendezvous here. One can't stay all week and has to leave. So the 2 spots per unit is very important to us. We've also found that due to our location, our owners and our renters, once they get here, they tend to stay. You make a grocery trip to the store, you may go downtown Charleston for a day, but there is not a lot of in and out traffic, and that's important because of what we're asking for here tonight on the parking spaces. So we're seeking approval really to maintain our 6 spots, as you see them in this photo, access from East Ashley. In the plan view, that's the 11x17 big drawing. Have that. The bottom half is the current design on the Davis and Floyd drawings, and the top half is my crudely marked up proposed plan. And basically, the change is to eliminate the sweetgrass and mulch areas that are out in front of the Beach Walk building, giving us the open parking mirroring what we have today. Our vehicles would be well inside the sidewalk. There would not be an issue there. The sidewalk can go in just as it's designed. No issue there. The palmetto tree, I think is scheduled to come out. It's found itself right in the middle of the sidewalk, but we have no issue with that leaving either. What we've committed to is to bear the cost of any drawing changes. We think these design changes should be minor. We think that they can be done in a timely manner to still facilitate the schedule for going for bid. It's our understanding that that part of the job has not been issued for bid yet. So we would hope that we could get Davis and Floyd to change the drawings at our expense and still maintain whatever bid schedule that you have for that. We understand that the South Carolina DOT approval is still the next step that we would have to get through. What we actually think is that it will probably be less expensive to install it per our plan and less expensive to maintain for the city of Folly Beach. So in summary, what we're asking for is essentially to maintain the access to the 6 parking spaces that we currently have today, as it relates to the access from East Ashley. Any questions that I can answer for you tonight?
Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion approved.
You want to second it?
Second.
Okay, well, I want to, if you look at the next to the last page of the packet you have, picture of the cars, you'll notice they got more than a problem with Sweetgrass. They have a problem with the building. If you look at the car on your far left-hand side, you see it won't fit underneath that, the way it sits, it won't fit underneath that lattice. And what they find, and the one in the middle, the 2 in the middle, where this building juts back out toward the road, for some reason it even seems lower than the one on the left and the right. And what is behind that lattice work is a structural beam. So it's kind of like tough to get anything in there in today's regular size pickup trucks and SUVs. So to say that this is going to fix all your parking problems, it won't. Now on the left and the right, you can pull up far enough into the building that you could stay off the sidewalk. But that one in the center with a standard truck sitting there, we've been there. We've talked to your owners, we've talked to your property managers multiple times about this process, this whole process from start to finish. So it wasn't something that just got sprung on you all of a sudden.
Right.
If it was, then you got a problem with the property manager. But so that's going to be a problem for y'all right up front.
Well,
so if it's not a regular little car, it's not going to fit there.
What I would tell you is tomorrow morning I'm meeting a contractor there at 7:30. We can trim about 5 inches off the lattice. The steel beam is about 5 inches above the bottom of the lattice work. So our plan is to move the little rail on the lattice work, move that up.
I'm not sure 5 inches is going to get it for you. What do you think, Gary?
I thought they had to move the beam when we last talked, but that was the last meeting we had on site. 5
inches, the beam's still going to get you. And that was using the owner's personal vehicle.
Yep.
That was his personal vehicles. So, you know, we've already been through this, we've been through the reading, and I know that this council voted to let Mr. Sneed submit some plans, but again, as much trouble as we've had with DOT lately, and discussions with DOT and working with DOT, I personally am not in favor of doing it. I wasn't in favor of the last one, and I'm not in favor of this. That's just up front. I'm just being honest with you, because I think you got more parking problems than just a little bit of Sweetgrass.
Well, he actually just hit the nail on the head. Why is this coming up now? Because I know they walked this whole thing off with everybody who was affected. I know you're new to the board, but why did the previous board not have a problem with it?
Well,
and all of a sudden it is a problem.
I'm not new to the board. I've been acting as vice president for the last 6 years or so. Well, to be kind, let's just say that I'm not sure it was handled the best on our end.
Well, he brings up a great point, which is the next thing I was to do. You can't block this sidewalk at all, and you already have issues. I mean, it does look like, I'm in favor. I don't mind the idea, because I do hear about the maintenance and all that, and I think y'all are just gonna tear it up. I think we put this Sweetgrass there, the cars are still gonna drive over it, we're gonna tear it up, and that's one of my biggest things. That and blocking, hold on, let me finish. that and blocking the sidewalk, you know, are two issues that I have with it. I think you should meet your contractor and see how you can get these cars up a little bit more. But I mean, you're bearing the cost of it. When was this project supposed to start? Do we know? Wasn't it supposed to, we didn't want it to start in the summer, but it was gonna start in the summer?
That was the idea. We're trying to start it this summer.
So, I mean, to be honest with you, if it's gonna start this summer, a month or two delay actually helps me smile, because we don't need all this construction going on in the middle of our summertime out here. And I think I've said that a couple times now. So I don't mind the delay, it's at your cost, but I think he's also right, you have some other issues that you're gonna have to address, because I know, feeling that if there's cars that are blocking that sidewalk, they're gonna get towed. And then your HOA is gonna have a bigger problem on their hands when you're towing visitors' cars.
Yeah, we totally accept the responsibility of clearing the sidewalk. I mean, that is on us to do, if we get approval, to continue this way. And we think we can.
I'm not so sure that, I mean, like, say this wasn't happening and we didn't have the request from the last meeting happening, we still wouldn't really be starting the summer, because we still have a couple of things out, right, that we're waiting.
The stuff's going to DOT, and if we didn't have the last meeting's
Requests, right?
we don't know how long it'll take.
Right, so in all likelihood, it probably wouldn't really start this summer.
It might be late summer.
Right, right.
Might be late summer. That's, when you're talking that many people walking and driving around, that's an issue.
But
That was with y'all's last vote.
You just said it again. It would be this without that. It would be this summer.
It wouldn't have.
The last round of utility complex has just gone to DOT, so it's an unknown, to be honest.
So without last month, we would have started this summer, for sure.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, okay, so
It's late summer.
that's what I'm saying. Without that, we would start in the middle of summer. At least we pushed it to late summer.
We're calling summer, but August.
Doing this kind of, you saw the construction was on second. That was, during, was it spring break weekend? That was insane.
Well, on the weekend, it doesn't make any difference because they don't work on the weekend.
I hear you. When they leave things a mess and hazards everywhere, it's an issue. So.
Any other questions or comments?
I do have one. As a former property owner myself at 111 East Arctic Avenue, Seaside Villas 1, where we had 6 units, not 9, we were able to make use underneath the building for 9 parking spaces. I know seemingly by design, you don't have any parking beneath the building. Is there a reason for that?
It's the insurance, it takes us to a whole different insurance coverage level if we park vehicles under the building. And that's why we have tried to stay away from that.
So that's the only reason you don't park under the building?
Well, it's an exponential cost increase.
I don't know if you did yourself any favors right there, but
most other properties, as you've noticed, do allow for that.
That's what our insurance company has told us before.
Any other questions?
Mr. Parker?
No.
Mr. Farley?
no.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
No.
Ms. Ray?
No.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mayor Goodman?
No.
Fails.
So we're not going to work with that. Thank you. Any citizen comments? Do you have any sent in? I mean, I had some emails I saw, but
All the emails I got, please.
spread it out. Okay, thanks. They weren't really for comments, but it was emails. We do have a board committee report from the Tourism, Visitors, and Promotions Committee. Talking about how they're gonna spend the money.
Good evening, y'all. I can promise you, we did not coordinate. We're just both snappy dressers, so. Ed Arms, 216 West Cooper.
And I'm Vince Perna, 305 East Huron.
So I know this budget is already in your budget book last month, but we appreciate the opportunity to come talk about a few things here. Total budget, which really is driven by the ATAX and other dollars is gonna be about $360,000. We take two approaches. First, is to get people here. Advertisement with the focus on the off season, to put some heads in beds, create some activity here in the off season. That really is our push. Secondarily, once we get them here, we want to make sure they have a great time. And over the last few years, we've spent some time and definitely some dollars on projects that would enhance the visitor experience. And some of those would be the bathrooms down at, I think it's the washout?
No, they're in Second Street by Burt's.
Second by Burt's, oh, that's right. And then we had the lighting project that was coordinated and around, and the dock at the Folly River Park. So those are some things that we were happy to fund. We're currently working with Aaron and Eric on some other projects that would certainly enhance the visitor experience, like right-of-way, beach access, trash enclosures, things of that nature that would help folks when they come here to Folly Beach to have a better time and certainly want to come back. Obviously, we participate with the Charleston Visitor Bureau, and you'll see a couple things. We actually pay $25,000 to be a member there, and they have a lot of resources in terms of bringing people to the area. And then we help them on the advertising side. And this year, I think it's $22,000 that we're sharing with them. You'll note in our advertising that we do, and most of this is online digital ads around the country. We have a bevy of information that over the last few years, COVID kind of screwed us up a little because we took a different approach for COVID last year. Instead of some of these towns or cities where there's direct flights to Charleston, we went after towns that you could drive from last year. So we tried to keep it within 2 tanks, if we could, 2 tank towns. And that kind of drove, but it corrupted our data a little bit in terms of what we've been doing and following the flow of hits that we've been getting to look at our effectiveness. So we're going to go back, and tomorrow night we're going to mine 5 years worth of data and to select those big cities that we're going to go after. We think that's really the best way to do it. Past few years, there's been a lot of great opinions. Then we'll go after the data this time and try to nail not only the best opportunities for Folly, but we'd like to up the ante a little bit, because there's a lot of beautiful homes been built here, a lot of money out there. We'd rather get the clientele that would drive higher ATAX dollars, obviously, and continue what we've been able to do. So that's kind of my spiel, and take any questions you have, I guess.
I would like to add that we retain Little Dog Agency to guide us on our advertising decisions. So you'll see the retainer for them in there, and you'll probably notice that the bulk of it is in that TV network online digital ads. So we're really going pretty hard at that last year. We must be doing well because the ATAX receipts are rising. So we do have a larger budget this year to allocate. And then like Ed said, we are going to have some visitor enhancement projects as well.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
One of the things that concerned me was actually we don't know the data that's driving it, in the sense of what are the large cities? Is there a reason why you came to us prior and you would have had more knowledge next month?
Well, I mean, the dollars aren't going to change. Without taking you through an entire presentation, we have all the data from internet hits, and what we're really trying, we don't even have at this point. We're trying better to marry that with the Charleston data, So we can pull those together, and then at some point, we'd like to be able to get feedback information to see who actually shows up here.
Okay.
Not just hits the website.
Right, but I see large city, I see no information about what those large cities are. That's the first question, okay? So I understand the process and how you're going to sort of wind it down. Second question that I have just to think about is what do you define as off-season? You're targeting the market for off-season. What is off-season?
Well, we're really targeting, as things slow down, from September until March. That would be the time that the town needs a push. Obviously, it doesn't right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we've seen, that March, April period, depending on how spring break kicks in and Easter and what have you, really be very robust. May, June, July, obviously, but as you start to get into September, that's what we'd like to push, is to get people here.
September to March.
Get more utilization. You can't grow too much on the season.
And
Might
then
see differences in the amounts for different months in the.
with peak, I get you. Yeah. And then, are you saying that Atlanta, the other list will remain pretty much the same as far as the smaller options?
Those are locked down. Those are pretty much proven commodities to us.
That's what I thought.
I think we're getting rid of Columbus though.
Columbus is out.
All right, well.
We got a meeting tomorrow to finalize all these things, but we just really want to make sure we were thoughtful in terms of the selection process.
Thank you.
TVPC's done a great job, especially in the last 3 years that I've been on the board. The lights, the pier, the walkovers, that's the gift that keeps giving. That not only benefits tourists, but it benefits our citizens every day. And the other thing is, I don't know about Columbus, but there's a new airline, Breeze, and I guess you'll look at what their direct flights are from. It might be, taking a look at that. But sure, did a great job. Thanks. That's all. Thank you.
Anybody else? I would say that, when did we start at TVPC?
4-ish.
Yeah, 3 or 4. Since that time, it's really changed. I was on like the first committee that was done for the council. That's the way it did. It's you've really done a great job growing the process. I think that 2-tank town, I think that's a perfect idea. I think, so many people come here to drive here.
I knew that the masters of marketing would benefit me one day.
That's a wonderful idea. In Columbus, Ohio, I asked some folks from Ohio one time, why do you come to Folly Beach? And the answer was really stunning. It was the easiest beach for them to drive to. It was all interstate till you got to Folly Road. It's like, really? I mean, never even thought of it that way. So Columbus might have to stay in there. I don't know.
All right.
Take that into consideration. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
You look great, by the way.
Thank you.
So we're up to old business, ordinance 1621. An ordinance amending chapter 36 to add subsection municipal fund investment policy sections 36.7 and 36.82 to define a municipal fund investment policy. The second reading, to have a motion for approval.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? We'll let Mr. Gesser off the hook. Yep.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
No.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mayor Goodman?
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, so we're gonna move to new business. This is gonna get interesting. We have appointments to boards, commissions, and committees. So for the Board of Zoning Appeals, we had 2 vacancies and 2 folks applying. So do I have a motion to accept the 2 applicants that to fill the 2 vacancies?
So moved. Sorry. Second.
Any discussion?
I was wondering, on the Board of Zoning Appeals, the requirement is that they're just full-time year-round residents. And one of the applicants, Scott Rideout, is also up for consideration for another board that is only 2 applicants and 2 vacancies. But on that one, he's a mechanical engineer, and he fits the preference given architects, landscape architects, planners, and realtors more. And I was wondering if it might be better to wait for Board of Zoning Appeals and see if we have anybody that applies in the next month, and give further consideration to Mr. Rideout for number 4.
Sorry with me, if y'all wanna wait.
Can you not do both?
No,
May I have just a staff input?
yeah,
Since I'm the staff liaison for both of these boards, I agree with Mr. Farley that DRB meets way more regularly. We have a much smaller board, so it's harder to make a quorum. So I agree that I think Mr. Wright would be great for DRB.
okay, well, advertise for,
That's my 2 cents.
if y'all withdraw your motion.
Yeah.
Okay,
So you're going to appoint Mr. Rosen?
well, just wait till next time.
Alright.
Is there,
Does he need to reapply, or is that just roll?
No, he would
Why
just,
don't we just look Mr. Rosen in?
well, I don't know, you might get 5 other people if you want to. I don't know.
It's a process question, right?
You know, yeah. So if you wanna hold it for, I'll just hold off both of them.
no, I get it, I got
Your meeting's coming up where you need somebody?
DCA meets as needed, and we don't have anything on the docket.
All right, so for community promotions, again, we have 2 vacancies and 2 applicants. I have a motion to accept the 2 applicants. I don't think there's anything else.
So move.
Have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? Okay,
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mr. Rich? Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
yes. For the Construction Board of Appeals, again, we have 2 vacancies and 2 applicants, 1 reappointment, 1 new one. Have a motion to approve the 2 applicants.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Whenever you're ready.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
yes,
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin?
Yes. For the Design Review Board, we have 2 vacancies and 2 applicants, 1 reappointment and 1 new applicant. Again, do we have a motion for approval of the 2 applicants?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Rich?
yes,
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin?
Yes. I don't know how many people out there listening and watching remembers the poet laureate for Folly Beach, Mr. Rick Huff. And one of his famous songs, he referred to the Design Review Board as the DRB as the decidedly ridiculous board. You can tell he had a run-in with him somewhere along the line. So every time I see that, I think of him. Parks and Recreations Board, we have 2 vacancies and 3 applicants. Now, so we'll vote on these, and whenever Mr., are you doing it or Ms. Watkins doing it? You got it?
We're about good.
Okay. Whenever Mr. Pope calls your name, just give him your last 2, you want their name, or you just want the number 1, 2, 3?
Last name, please.
Last name, okay.
Mr. Parker?
The same Vauxhall.
Mr. Farley?
The same Vauxhall.
Mr. Grooms?
Vauxhall the same?
Dr. Houghton?
Well, the same Foxhole.
Ms. Ray?
The same Foxhall.
Mr. Rich?
same Foxhole,
Mayor Goodwin.
Golly, Marlene Oliver. I'll defer the other vote.
All right, so we got Ms. Lassane and Ms. Boxhall are reappointed.
So we have the Tourism and Visitor Promotion Committee. We have 4 vacancies. One of the state law requires these vacancies be filled by 2 folks from lodging. It says 1 culture, well, that should have been hospitality, and 1 general public. So,
Just need to vote on the general public, right?
well, no, you just go ahead and call out all the names, so Mr. Pope can make it official.
Mr. Grooms.
Hart, Imes, and Perna.
One more.
And one more.
One more,
Yes, sir.
Lemaster.
Ms. Ray.
De Pasquale, I know I said that wrong, Hart, Imes, Perna.
Mr. Farley. De Pasquale, Hart, Imes, Perna.
Dr. Hutton.
Hart, Imes, Lemaster, Perna.
Mr. Parker.
Hart, Imes, Lacey, Perna.
Mr. Rich.
Well, Hard Items, Perna, and then let's go with the Pascal.
Mayor Goodwin.
Hart, Imes, Lacey, and Perna.
Alright, so we've got Ms. Hart, Mr. Imes, Mr. Perna, and De Pasquale.
So 1, 2, 3. That was the 4th one.
It's 6.
Oh, yeah, I said Mr. Perna.
Oh, excuse me, okay, I'm sorry, I missed that.
You leave this out. Break my heart. We'll put you on the BZA instead.
Utility Advisory Board.
Make a motion to accept the 2 applicants.
Have a
Take care.
second?
Second.
Ms. Ray.
Yes.
Mr. Rich.
Yes.
Mr. Grooms.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Dr. Hutton.
Yes.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, ordinance 1821, ordinance to provide for the adoption of the fiscal year 2022 general fund budget containing estimates of the proposed revenues and expenditures for the city of Folly Beach, beginning July the 1st, 2021, and ending June the 30th, 2022. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Call it.
Oh,
I'm sorry. That's why I said, let me know.
Need those coins.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to make I guess a motion to improve or add $24,000 for 8 AEDs that will be distributed through the Public Safety Department for a fast responder. We kind of discussed this at the last meeting, and it's important to get that unit out as quick as possible, and this plan would allow first responders to respond with that unit during the critical 6 minutes. I wish it was 6 hours, 6 minutes. And then the 36,000 that is currently in there for the 12 lead AED, I'd like to leave that in, but put it to a reserve so that it can be tapped at a later date when we have the personnel ready to use it, and after the 10 AEDs are put to use. And have a more detailed presentation of the 12 lead down the road as we consider it. so that we can hear from medical people and we can see how many paramedics we have and how many EMTs we have that'll be ready to use that, so.
Okay, the 36 is easy because Lee just moves it to a reserve. The 24 that you're adding expense to, where are you going to get the money from?
We spoke to Lee at the last meeting, and I think he's identified 2 revenue funds that can be adjusted to accommodate the 24.
Yes, sir. What we talked about before was adding additional funds in the local accommodations tax line as well as the hospitality tax. So what I would do for local accommodations tax is add 14,000 to local accommodations tax revenue and another 10,000 to hospitality, for 24,000.
You're going to add 24,000 to your prediction above what you predicted before?
Yes, sir. We'll split almost half and half between local accommodations.
It don't matter where you put it, half and half. You're up in your prediction 24,000. Okay.
Is that the best place that you could think of?
It's the most appropriate place where we have. I think 24,000 was pretty tall ask to go in any other revenue line. It seemed like the safest place that we'd be above and beyond, because we're outperforming this year, very much so.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But will you outperform next year if they quit advertising 2 tank towns? We shall see. Okay. Any others? All right. So we're voting on. I didn't miss a hand again, did I? Okay. We're voting on the budget as amended by Mr. Folly and Mr. Yesner's explanation.
Just to make sure we have it, that's to add 24K to purchase 8 AEDs, move to 36K for the 12 LEDs to reserve, and get that revenue by adding 14K to ATAX and 10K to hospitality.
Yep.
And that 36 is coming from the 5220 capital, is that what?
Yeah.
Yep. And moving that to a
reserve.
What about special projects reserve? Because that would be a special project, but then say down the road, if we don't want to pursue that, we can use it for another city special project. So it keeps it open for that, but not as tied down.
I wouldn't move it to a special projects out of the public safety departments reserves.
Sure, public safety special project reserve. I know Mr. Gessner doesn't like adding new reserve accounts, so.
He could just move to public safety capital reserve and then.
Within the fire, actually fire has its own department structure,
yes.
So I've got a reserve fire emergency preparedness that I would probably.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Any other comments? Back to the budget as amended, 1821 as amended. The amendment, excuse me, not as amended, the amendment.
Mr. Rich?
No.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
No.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
I'm gonna put Lee on a limb and say yes.
All right, passes.
Any other additions, corrections, questions? Okay, back to 1821 as amended.
Dr. Houghton?
Could you clarify that? So we're doing the whole budget as amended with the new amendment?
Right.
No.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
No.
Parker?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yes.
Passes.
1921, ordinance 1921, an ordinance establishing the water utility budget and appropriating the necessary funds for the operation of the Folly Beach Water Utility for fiscal year 2022, beginning July the 1st, 2021, and ending June the 30th, 2022. Have a motion for approval to the water budget.
So moved. Second.
Any additions or corrections to the water budget? Yeah.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yes.
Passes.
Ordinance 2021. An ordinance establishing the sewer utility budget and appropriating the necessary funds for the operation of the Folly Beach Sewer Utility for fiscal year 2022, beginning July the 1st, 2021, and ending June the 30th, 2022. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any additions, corrections, amendments? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yes.
Passes.
Ordinance 2121, an ordinance chapter to amend 134, offenses against public welfare, Folly Beach Code of Ordinances by repealing sections 134.1 through 134, about mask face coverings. This is really a vote just to remove it from the ordinance, remove it from the books, because it's over. So it's no longer in effect, but with a vote to remove it, we just take it out of the books altogether. And hopefully you never see another pandemic where we have to have a face mask.
So, okay, we're voting to remove it.
The whole piece about the face mask. All right?
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I explained that before I got a motion for approval.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. I need a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Now, let's talk about it.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yes.
Passes.
We'll see that one more time, and we'll be done with that forever, hopefully. 22-21, ordinance amending chapter 164, section 164.04 to 02. General development and operational standards for accessory structures, and 164.05 to 06. Specific regulations for certain temporary uses and structures, in chapter 166, development standards, sections 166.05 through 03, single and two-family design standards, 166.05 through 04, multiple family design standards, and 166.05 commercial design standards, by regulating shipping containers for residential and commercial uses in a safe and aesthetically pleasing manner. Motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any questions, discussions?
This gets remanded to the planning commission.
Yeah, it goes to plan. All right. 2321, this will also, planning's gonna have a bunch to do. Ordinance amending chapter 164, use standards, section 164.03/03, commercial use to require restrooms and trash receptacles for commercial parking lots. Have a motion, we just make a, sorry about it, we make a motion to remand it to planning.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion about that? We'll just take that one without exception, just send it to planning. 24, 21. There's an ordinance amending chapter 164 use standards, section 16403-03 commercial uses. I can't even read tonight. To require restroom and trash receptacles for lots with outdoor retailers. It sounds exactly the same, except it's not a commercial parking lot, it's a lot with outdoor retailer. Have a motion to remand it to planning?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any objection? Without objection. Resolution 18-21, a resolution by Folly Beach City Council awarding a contract to Young and Young for the prosecution services for a period of 4 years, beginning July the 1st, 2021. This is part of Young and Young.
Is it right to say no right in front of the guy? We all say no and just get him out of here? Or
Just don't end up on the wrong side of the podium next time. Do you have a motion to approve? So there was a second?
Second.
He should have brought the other part of Young and Young.
Yeah.
She's much nicer. Okay.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mayor Goodman?
Yes. Resolution 19-21, a resolution by Folly Beach City Council transferring remaining budget funds from within the second quarter to the fourth quarter fiscal year 2021 general fund budget to reserve accounts for projects in the future fiscal year. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
What accounts are they going into?
Mr. Gessner? Well, you got a list here. You want the list?
Here we
Please.
oh, here we go, found it.
Okay.
Resolution. Okay, administration contracts, the website refresh, we had, from FY '21, we wanted to preserve that money, for the end of the fiscal year, so we had 20,000 for that, going to special projects. 2,000 for a fence, in City Hall and Public Safety, that's going to Parks and Facilities Maintenance Reserve. And that was money again in FY '21 that we reserved for that project that was still needed to be done. Also FY '21, $7,500 for the half share of the trailer and backhoe for facilities vehicles. Again, they wanted to preserve that money. They've got some matching funds in FY '22 that they're going to purchase that trailer and backhoe. I think the backhoe is going to save a few more dollars for the future. That won't be complete enough for the force. 10,000 for fire vehicles, going to their equipment reserve. That was a new add, a new ask. $9,500 into records management reserve. That was a new ask from public safety. There's the other $7,500, which is the half share of the trailer and backhoe with the public works side as opposed to facilities. And then we have the $12,000 which actually was FY '21 for this quick connect hydro coupler that they're using. I believe it connects to the backhoe. It's a connection there that they didn't spend this year, they want to reserve for future use. But this is an extension of staff. Basically, every year comes to council and says, well, these are the funds. Typically, in the previous year, we didn't get to spend, but there's still projects we didn't get at. We want to keep that money to do those things.
I get the ones that are rollovers of projects that are yet to be completed, but could you highlight the new ask again?
Primarily, I think they came from public safety, I'm not mistaken. The 10,000 the fire vehicles equipment reserve, and the 9,500 for the records and management reserve. Didn't know all the particulars on those.
Yeah. So yeah, specifically for the records management reserve, you know, the whole project where Charleston County is providing us with a CAD and we want that to integrate with our RMS report writing system. That's got pushed back by county. They're trying to decide on some final contract negotiations with the vendor and blah, 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 blah. So we didn't spend that money. So we're wanting to kind of push it back.
So it's not a new ask?
No, it's not. I mean, I guess it's a new ask to put in reserve, but no, it's not a new project. It's a project y'all are aware of.
So we didn't fund that I'm sorry.
That's correct.
We didn't fund that project in next year's budget with next year's money.
No.
So this is not a new ask, it's rolling over money that wasn't spent this year.
That's correct. We did not spend it on the project this year because of county pushing back the project.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, I think Mr. Gessner used a new ask instead of a new reserve.
Yeah, I just don't want to see where the way you describe it as new ask, it sounds like things that weren't budgeted for, instead of rolling money back into reserves, we're just going to find something to spend it on. Whereas really, this is just making sure money that was budgeted this year can be spent next year on projects that were approved this year.
The same exact. I will say the vehicle repairs and maintenance on 5220, 3550 into a fire vehicles and equipment reserve is merely, we're scheduled to have a decently sized surplus in that specific account. And my thought process was, instead of trying to find the fund in future budgets, it would be ready in reserve in case a piece of equipment needed to be replaced.
I don't have any more questions.
Anybody else? Okay.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yes.
Passes.
Resolution 20-21, resolution by Folly Beach City Council accepting the donation of a lot to be created at the corner of Shadow Race Lane and 3rd Street West by agreeing to pay for the associated Caustic survey and transfer said lot to the city of Folly Beach. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Well, this is to pay, we said we would pay for a survey for a lot that's gonna be donated to us. This sits right next to the Shadow Race Lane Park, for Mr. Weathers, since he's donating the land. Any questions, comments? You're up.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yes.
Passes.
And the resolution that goes along with that, 21-21, excuse me, is a resolution by Folly Beach City Council accepting to expand and rename Shadow Race Park to be known as Mural Edge Weathers Shadow Race Park. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions?
Is this tied to the donation?
Yep. Okay.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
No.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yes. Resolution 22-21, resolution awarding $1,000 to the Folly Green Team to replace a worn bench at the Folly Beach Community Garden and to replace water spigots at various water stations on the island by the recommendation of the Community Promotions Committee. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yes.
Passes.
23-21 is a resolution awarding $700 to the Folly Beach Civic Club to publish a 6-page color edition of the Sandsfur Ritual in July by recommendation of the Community Promotions Fund. Good?
Yes, sir.
Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Discussion?
Mr. Farley?
So member of Civic Club, I can vote.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're not getting any personal compensation or anything, so.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Goodman?
Yes.
Passes.
Resolution 24-21, a resolution by Folly Beach City Council for the adoption of the fiscal year 2022 budget containing estimates of proposed revenues and expenditures for the Beach Preservation Fund beginning July the 1st, 2021 and ending June the 30th, 2022. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Just for everybody watching, that's a pretty significant number.
Yeah.
Fiscal year 2022, the money for renourishment and reserve to reconstruct, restore, renourish is $6,680,660. A lot of sixes in there.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money to have set aside for the inevitable beach renourishment.
Well, it's not a lot of money set aside when the people come in your office and sit down and you think you're, like the last one, we thought we were gonna pay $2 million. And at the end of the meeting, they looked at me and said, oh, by the way, it's gonna be $5 million. Yeah, so hopefully it won't go up that much, but it's also we also can use it for some other things and, like accesses and things like that for beach preservation.
Drawings. Drawings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, anything that has the beach to preserve the beach.
I was just trying to put that in their heads earlier.
Yeah. Okay, anything else?
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Grooms?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mayor Goodman?
Yes.
Passes.
2521 is a resolution by Folly Beach City Council authorizing the administration to enter into a continuation of services agreement with Cummings and McCready Incorporated to conduct preliminary investigations, produce construction drawings, and provide construction contract administration for the exterior recladding of City Hall. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Anybody have any questions of Mr. Latz? He will answer. He will be glad to answer all your questions.
Just based on this.
Anybody have any questions?
Strictly City Hall, not public safety?
Correct.
That building.
This exterior is, double the age of that exterior. That one was done properly. This is a project we started, as you know, back in 2017, I think we got, or 16. We had an investigation done initially on the cladding up here, and we reserved the money and set aside. Got issued grants for the roof and windows, so that
Are they replacing it with eaves?
they're gonna give us options, which you guys will get to choose. Whether it will be stucco, traditional stucco, different type of system, or even hardy plank, some kind. The architect will present options for this.
Thanks, I was dying to know.
What I wanna know is how they're gonna get in between these two buildings out here where it's only less than a foot of space. Any other questions?
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mayor Goodman?
Yes.
Passes.
2621, a resolution by Folly Beach City Council authorizing administration to transfer funds from account 10-6000-6900 Parks and Recreation Reserve for the installation of native plant material at the mural edge weather shadow race park. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second. Any comments, questions? Okay.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms.
Yes.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mayor Goodman.
Yes.
Passes.
The resolution all been waiting for all night, resolution 27-21. Resolution by Folly Beach City Council for the adoption of the Folly fiscal year 2022 budget containing estimates of proposed revenues and expenditures for the Tourism and Visitor Promotion Committee beginning July the 1st, 2021, ending June the 30th, 2022. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any, I think y'all got to ask all your questions earlier, but any other comments, questions? Okay, vote.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms.
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mayor Goodman.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, so we're up to city council comments. And we'll start with Mr. Grooms.
The Exchange Club is doing a cookout at the Folly River City Park on June 17th. That is a Thursday, beginning at 7 p.m. We'll have hamburgers and hot dogs, and we'd love to have each and every one of you come attend and have some free food. And we're gonna have a DJ there, I believe, to do some dancing, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, DJ?
I will be there, yes. I will have a playlist, yes. I am not DJing, no.
Okay.
Is it beach music or?
Well, that's one of the questions I was gonna
It's
ask
not
you.
hip-hop
It's gonna be all over, but I was gonna ask you for some of the old shag bands to download. I was gonna make a playlist and let it play.
Yeah, we're gonna throw some sand down.
But I know you got old CDs and just old band names you can throw me.
Music that you.
That was one of the things I
Hours
talked to
and
you about
hours.
last week, but I forgot about.
Hours and hours. Okay.
Congratulations to all the newly appointed committee members, board members, and the reappointments. Also, just kind of a note is that if you are cleaning out a bunch of stuff in your house, whether it's refrigerators or whatever, it's very helpful. If you can email trash@cityoffollybeach.com. That kind of gives our public works guys a little lead time to kind of make something happen. I know there's been a couple of massive heaps of trash lately on the side of the road, and we're fortunate that there wasn't a storm or high winds or anything to spread that everywhere, but it could just be very helpful, just to give these guys a heads up, and it's easy for them to help you out. And thanks for watching.
Mr. Farley.
Nice to be in the building. Aaron and Eric, nice job managing that project. It makes this building more energy efficient. It gives better service to our public and makes a safer environment for our employees. We recaptured a lot of significant usable space. I think the end product, which I guess isn't really the end product yet, but on the inside, it will soon be the end product when all the electronics get installed, and but really a job well done. Also, the blood drive is tomorrow, and I spoke to Mr. Miller before the meeting, and there's 5 or 6 empty spots, and they start, the earliest one is 12:30, and the last one is 1:45, but the remaining spots are in between those 2 times. And it's at Father Kelly Hall on West Hudson. That's all.
Mr. Rich.
Have a good night.
Mr. Barker.
For those of you watching at home, please do come and visit with us in our new space. It's fantastic. Thanks again to the staff and all those involved in pulling this together over the past year. This upcoming Thursday, we have our second of a to-be-determined amount of short-term rental committee meetings. There's been quite a bit of public input provided this far. Certainly keep it coming. That will help us to shape some of the recommendations to council. And lastly, our next city council meeting is not until July 13th. So have a wonderful and safe 4th of July, everyone.
We have 1 or 2 weeks.
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Come visit us then.
It's okay, don't worry, you don't have to be
Thank
here,
you.
sorry.
It's on my calendar.
I would like to say the Muriel Edge Weathers Shadow Race Park is a dream come true. I remember working on that 5 years ago. Took a lot of work from everybody in this room and lots of folks outside this room. It's remarkable, and the level of generosity is just outstanding. In light of that, I just want to also say that to segue to the Sandsbur. The Sandsbur has evolved and it has become actually a mechanism where folks really needed it during COVID. They wanted color, they wanted the connections, they truly saw the value of it. So I would like to recognize Brenda Sue Morris for her efforts. She's worked on that actually every day. And last but not least, can you believe this is a quote from Abraham Lincoln? And in the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. Happy birthday, Mayor Goodwin.
Oh, thank you, but you're a day early.
I know, but we're not here tomorrow, another party.
Yeah, we had that last time. Appreciate it, thank you very much. All right, so have a motion to adjourn? Off the record, Ed.
So, I only wanted to like